The gods send us labors and the promise of favor. Riches and glory. But only for those who can earn it.
Well, that was something, wasn't it? Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we can finally talk about the newest DLC for a Total War Saga Troy. And this DLC is an absolutely big one, not only because it's new content and of course we're getting the Steam release, but yeah, mythical monsters as you saw in the trailer, and now what you're seeing is screenshots from in-game. This is a massive change coming to a Total War Saga Troy, considering that the game was originally marketed as the whole truth behind the myth, but, well, let's be honest, it didn't really stick too well now, did it? There's a lot of information provided by Creative Assembly which we're gonna go over right now, but let's just enjoy the screenshots for a moment. The monsters themselves are reimagined from the whole truth behind the mythic units, where for example the centaurs were just men riding horses, the harpies were just some fast-moving damage dealers and so on. Now we actually have them in their full representation in a mythological sense. But with all that being said, Creative Assembly did provide a rather large blog post which we can go over now, as it has quite a lot of information. This is not only covering the Mythos DLC, but a bunch of other stuff too, so let's get started, shall we? So let's just jump in with the first few paragraphs explaining what is Mythos. Mythos is the latest and greatest DLC expansion for a Total War Saga Troy. It introduces an entirely new campaign game mode which adds mythical monsters, quests to capture them, divine powers, and much more to the ancient world. These represent the beliefs and the legends of the ancient peoples brought to life to see who would master the battlefield. The Lernean Hydra, the Griffin Patriarch, and the mighty Ceberus await heroes and leaders brave or foolhardy enough to seek their resistance. With enough guile, wit, and battle skill, you can bring them into your service, and with them come their legions of followers, special abilities, and new gameplay opportunities. So these seem to be as massive legendary heroes of sorts. We'll actually be discussing these guys in much more detailed videos as time progresses throughout today too. In addition, units and concepts previously depicted with their real-world equivalents such as harpies, centaurs, the cyclops and more have been reimagined as their mythical counterparts. The divine will system is expanded, allowing you to take control of thunderbolts of Zeus himself or the epic tides of Poseidon. So we've already seen some of the screenshots regarding these monsters which have now been turned into mythical creatures, which is pretty cool. The divine will system being changed up too is much more mythological. You know, this is like the gods are actively taking part in the game. If you've played any games, read any books, or even just watched any TV shows or movies centered around the Greek mythology, you'll know that the gods tend to be quite active, very active in times of seeing when their favorite followers are doing something, they might need some help, so they'll provide some divine intervention in a sense. I mean, in most cases of mythology, the gods are really just there to screw with people. It's a very regular occurrence in Greek mythology, though I guess, yeah, some divine blessings could work. I mean, it sounds a lot better than them just turning on you and doing something to harm you, doesn't it? Now, for you historical fans, don't you worry, there is actually some very, very exciting information. Whoa, so this isn't a historical game anymore? On the contrary, as part of the free update that will launch alongside Troy's Mythos, we are introducing a dedicated historically authenticated mode called no prizes for guessing, historical mode. This will not only not have access to the creatures and features of the new mythological mode, but also replace powerful single entity units and make other changes from the truth behind the myth mode that sits between the two, and will also still be available for play. We'll talk about this in the near future. Okay, so the truth behind the myth mode, for the fans of that, will still be able to play that, no problem, it's not going anywhere. But the main thing to take about this is you're getting a full historical style game with this too. Meaning that if you're not interested in the monsters, the myth, the magic, and all that type of stuff, you can have a true historical playthrough if you so want. No more single entity Minotaurs, no more, well, I'm assuming, what, Achilles? He was quite powerful on duels, being by himself, taking out a whole army. For me, it was actually Menelaus just smashing his way through enemy lines after you leveled him up enough, so now that's gone. Well, not gone, but in its own separate mode, meaning that there's going to be 3 different playstyle modes for this game, which is actually really interesting. It covers everything for all different types of players, and that sounds rather exciting. The DLC will launch on the 2nd of September at 3 PM BST, this is the usual time anyway, and will also be available on Steam. So the year is up, there's no Epic Game Store stuff. If you want to go and purchase it on Steam, you can. And as you can see on screen right now, there is a special discount which is linked to that of the Steam purchases. So obviously, yeah, you have to buy the base game, you have to buy some DLC if you want them, of course. And this is just to make things a little easier. It's a pretty good discount, though if you've already got it on Epic, it really depends on what you want to do. Of course, on Epic, you got it for free if you downloaded it within the first day. If you want to wait a bit, that's also perfectly fine, as not long from now, some creators such as myself will be dropping videos so you can see what exactly has changed with the game and see if this does interest you or not. But going full fantasy, that might probably pick up the interest for a lot of people. So here we have some information regarding the Mythos mythical monsters. The 3 mythical monsters that will be available in Troy Mythos are the Lernean Hydra, the Griffin Patriarch, and Ceberus. Each has their own set of associated units, buildings, in battle, and on-map special abilities, and other bits and pieces depending on which you recruit. This is a task in itself. Each beast requires a great quest on your part, dispatching a hero and his troops to find evidence of, track down, and eventually fight and recruit the great beast. This is a mythic expedition and only one can be attempted per campaign, so choose wisely. As part of this mythic expedition, your troops will face 5 dilemmas that you will need to resolve, preparing your army for the final confrontation. When you eventually track down and begin the final phase of the hunt, a mighty battle will take place, with you taking control of the monster if you win. The cost is that this army is otherwise occupied for the entire journey and will not be able to help you in defense of your lands and your conquests, when you can afford to do so, so it is up to you. Once you have finished the mythic expedition, your monster of choice will act as an agent on the map, capable of carrying out various special actions, as well as joining armies to fight as a powerful unit. Your campaign antagonists will also be able to obtain their own mythic monster, and they will do so before you if you leave it too long. Make your choices carefully. Okay, so there's a few things to discuss here. It looks like the 3 big monsters, the Hydra, the Griffin, and the Ceberus, will act as legendary heroes of sorts like in Total War Warhammer, and they will have their own special stuff, which is pretty cool. Only being able to recruit 1, it sounds like a very interesting concept in all honesty, as of course that then would mean that this would give you more replayability. Of course, right now, as of the time of recording this video, we have what, Trojans, Greeks, and Amazons? There's a few factions for all 3 of the different cultures, but that kind of means that you can either decide to use one monster for each culture or to use them with different ones. It really depends, and it gives you more replayability. Your antagonist being able to recruit a mythical monster too is also quite interesting, as that means that your enemy will be able to take advantage of any powerful mechanics. Is this some form of trying to make the AI more deadly and thus smarter? We're gonna have to wait and see, of course, but it's a very curious way as how they word it out. Now let's go and check out the changes for Mythological mode. Mythological mode has a large number of other changes, gameplay and visual. We've updated battle maps and the campaign map to bring the gods of ancient Greece closer, quite literally, their faces now appearing in the skies above your engagements. They can also have a much stronger presence on the battlefield, lending you their aid if you have managed to suitably impress them in the form of unique abilities to destroy your enemies or make your troops into colossi, figuratively speaking. Units you may be familiar with, such as centaurs, minotaurs and harpies, among others, have also been redesigned and upgraded into their actual monstrous counterparts. Expect flight and other special abilities. Okay, so let's talk about this. The gods are going to be much more prominent, we've already discussed this, they're going to be able to give you special abilities and so on, so it keeps more with the line of mythological Greece. Being able to see them on the campaign map with their faces now appearing in the skies is quite, well, I don't know, anxiety-inducing in a sense? I don't know, I just don't like getting watched, it's kind of like you're being tested. But I get what they're doing, it's them having more of an active role, and it sounds pretty cool. We've already seen a large majority of these mythic creatures reimagined in their actual mythic state at the beginning, and I don't think it'll be too long until we start seeing everything else. Now, there's a lot of stuff that comes in the free update too, not just historical mode, so let's talk about that. Alongside the aforementioned historical mode, we're also reworking the supply line systems into an administration system for all three modes. Okay, curious. This involves a new pooled resource administration burden. Each hero, unit and settlement has a defined amount of administration burden. Units have different amounts based on their tier. The stronger a unit is, the more administration burden they cost. And the same is true of settlements. Heroes also have a cost, while epic heroes are cheaper. The more administration burden a player has, the more negative effects are unlocked, but in return royal decrees and influence will be gained faster. The costs for recruitment and upkeep go higher and are broken down by resource. Food costs are the first to go up, followed by bronze and gold. We didn't want it to purely feel bad that you were growing your armies, hence the benefit to royal decrees and influence from being a large and powerful empire. Okay, so positives and negatives. This might be interesting and might fit for a future framework for future Total War titles? But let's continue. Our general goals here were to allow for different variations of play. Smaller armies don't punish you any harder than a few massive ones, as well as the lower impact of hiring heroes, so it doesn't lead to immediate massive spikes in prices. It should feel fairer and less impactful overall, while still being something you feel the need to manage or make decisions based on. We're looking forward to the feedback on it. So this could be something which will stop the supply lines issue. That's actually very noticeable in Total War Warhammer more than anything else. But I think that the supply lines mechanic overall in any Total War game that they've been featured in has always been quite negatively received. So it looks like they're working quite hard to resolve that issue. I just don't know how that will work in other Total War games where there might be only one resource. Overall, it looks like the Sophia team for Creative Assembly has been quite busy. We're not only getting one new game mode, but two, and one of them is going to be completely free. We're going to have to wait and see how everything shows, but I can now confirm that I have indeed been playing Total War Saga Troy with these new changes, the new mythical units and so on, and soon enough I'll be able to start dropping gameplay videos to showcase everything new. There's going to be quite a lot to discuss, and I hope that you guys can see this with open eyes before just going, oh, this is Troy, as of course the Sophia team are trying to present something different, and it is rather curious to me too, believe me. I'll start being able to drop videos on this in a few short days, so if there's anything in specific you want to see, please let me know in the comments below. Now, what do you guys think regarding these changes to Troy so far? I know a lot of stuff hasn't been shown, more spoken about, but let me know what you think, as of course, Troy is a different style of game. It's a Saga title, and it looks like they're really trying to make it more unique, especially with all these different types of changes. It looks like Creative Assembly are not done with Troy just yet, and that might actually be a good thing, as obviously there was a lot of fears regarding the Thrones of Britannia stuff in this, so it looks like there might be some hope. We're gonna have to wait and see, of course. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion.
The gods send us labors and the promise of favor. Riches and glory. But only for those who can earn it.
But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel has been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.